what is the use of biodiversity or what are the values of biodiversity? Here in this session, we shall see a few important aspects of how biodiversity sustains life on the earth. Environmental services from species and ecosystems are essential at global, regional and local levels. Production of oxygen, reduction of carbon dioxide, maintaining the water cycle, protecting the soil are important services. The world now acknowledges that the loss of biodiversity contributes to global climatic changes. Forests are the main mechanism for the conversion of carbon dioxide into carbon and oxygen. The loss of forest cover coupled with the increasing release of carbon dioxide and other gases through industrialization contributes to the greenhouse effect. Global warming causes the melting of ice caps, resulting in the rise in the sea level, which will submerge the low lying areas in the world. It is causing major atmospheric changes leading to increased temperatures, serious droughts in some areas and unexpected floods in other areas. Biological diversity is also essential for preserving ecological processes such as fixing and recycling of nutrients, soil formation, circulation and cleansing of air and water, global life support, maintaining the water balance within the ecosystems, watershed protection, maintaining stream and river flows throughout the year, erosion control and local flood reduction. Food, clothing, housing, energy, medicines are all resources that directly or indirectly linked to the biological variety present in the biosphere. This is the most obvious in the tribal communities who gather resources from the forest or fisherfolk who catch fish in marine or freshwater ecosystems. For others, such as agricultural communities, biodiversity is used to grow their crops to suit the environment. Urban communities generally use the greatest amount of goods and services which are all indirectly drawn from natural ecosystems. It has become obvious that the preservation of biological resources is essential for the well-being and the long-term survival of mankind. Let us see the consumptive use value. The direct utilization of timber, food, fuel wood, fodder is done by local communities. They know the qualities and different uses of wood from different species of trees and collect a large number of local fruits, roots and plant material that they use as food, construction material or medicines. Fisherfolk are highly dependent on fish and know where and how to catch fish and other edible aquatic animals and plants. Productive use value. The biotechnologists search for potential genetic properties in plants or animals that can be used to develop better varieties of crops and livestock. Genetic diversity enables scientists and farmers to develop better crops and domestic animals through careful breeding. Today, this is increasingly being done by genetic engineering, selecting genes from one plant and introducing them into another. Even today, newer species of plants and animals are being constantly discovered in the wild. Thus, these wild species are the building blocks for the betterment of human life and their loss is a great economic loss to mankind. Preservation of biodiversity has now become essential for industrial growth and economic development. A variety of industries such as pharmaceuticals are highly dependent on identifying compounds of great economic value from the wide variety of wild species of plants located in undisturbed natural forests. This is called biological prospecting. Let us see the social values. Traditional societies which had a small population and required less resources had preserved their biodiversity as a life supporting resource. The modern man has rapidly depleted it, even to the extent of irrecoverable loss due to extinction of several species. Ecosystem people value biodiversity as a part of their livelihood as well as through cultural and religious sentiments. In the recent years, farmers have begun to receive economic incentives to grow cash crops for national or international markets rather than to supply local needs. This has resulted in local food shortages, unemployment, because cash crops are usually mechanized, landlessness and increased vulnerability to drought and floods. Let us see some of the commonly used modern drugs derived from plant sources. Atropine from the plant Atropine belladonna reduces intestinal pains in diarrhea. Bromelain from pineapple controls tissue inflammation due to infection. Caffeine in tea and coffee is a stimulant of the central nervous system. Camphor from the camphor tree is used to increase the local blood supply. Cocaine from cocoa plant is analgesic and is a local anesthetic, reduces and prevents pain during surgery. Morphine from opium poppy plant is analgesic and controls pain. Digitoxin from common foxglove acts as a cardiac stimulant and used in heart diseases. Diosgenin from the wild yams is a source of female contraceptive which prevents pregnancy. L-dopa in velvet bean controls Parkinson's disease which leads to jerky movements of the hands. Menthol from mint plant increases local blood supply and reduces pain on local application. Monocrotaline from Crotalaria sessiliflora acts as an anti-cancer agent. Papain from papaya dissolves excess protein and mucus during digestion. Penicillin from Penicillium fungus is a general antibiotic, kills bacteria and controls infection by various microorganisms. Quinine from yellow cinchona is an anti-malarial medicine. Reserpine from the Indian snake root reduces high blood pressure. Now, let us see the ethical and moral values. All forms of life have the right to exist on the earth. Man is only a small part of the earth's great family of species. Don't plants and animals have an equal right to live and exist on our planet, which is like an inhabited spaceship? We do not know whether life exists elsewhere in the universe. Do we have the right to destroy life forms, or do we have a duty to protect them? Apart from the economic importance of conserving biodiversity, there are several cultural, moral and ethical values which are associated with the sanctity of all forms of life. Indian civilization has over several generations preserved nature through local traditions. This has been an important part of the ancient philosophy of many of our cultures. Sacred groves. We have in our country a large number of sacred groves preserved by tribal people in several states. These sacred groves around ancient sacred sites and temples act as gene banks of wild plants. Symbols from wild species such as the lion of Hinduism, the elephant of Buddhism, and deities such as Lord Ganesh and the vehicles of several deities that are animals have been venerated for thousands of years. Valmiki begins his epic story with a couplet on the unfortunate killing of a crane by the hunter. The Tulsi has been placed at our doorsteps for centuries. Option value. Keeping future possibilities open for the use of biodiversity is called option value. It is impossible to predict which of our species or traditional varieties of crops and domestic animals will be of great use in the future. To continue to improve cultivars and domestic livestock, we need to return to wild relatives of crop plants and animals. Thus, the preservation of biodiversity must also include traditionally used strains already in existence in crops and domestic animals. Watch a thrilling thunderstorm. Look up at a mighty tree. Look at the intricate design of a single leaf. Listen the roar of a waterfall. It is magnificent and fascinating. Biodiversity is a beautiful and wonderful aspect of nature. The earth is meant to be enjoyed by its inhabitants. That includes keeping it in the pristine condition in which it was discovered. Whether it is a majestic mountain range, a roaring waterfall, a bouquet of flowers, or the calm of the woods, these are places to get to know one and build bonds with family. Knowledge and appreciation of the presence of biodiversity for its own sake is another reason to preserve it. With this, I would like to conclude this session on biodiversity conservation. Thank you.